Don't try to sneak into your room like that. I know what you've got behind your back. Records. More new records.
Okay, the Berlin Philharmonic direct-to-disc recording of Bruckner's 7th Symphony has just arrived, so I want to unbox it and show you what's in this box, which is absolutely gorgeous. So, first of all, here's the box. And as you can see, it's got Mr. Haitink's signature embossed on the cover. He's 90 years old. And this was the final performance that he gave with the Berlin Philharmonic. It wasn't supposed to be that, but he retired shortly afterwards. So, first of all, you get a certificate telling you that this performance was recorded with a special stereo microphone system based on a multi-capsule microphone from Josephson Engineering in Santa Cruz, California. And it was released exclusively in this limited edition of 1,884 copies. And this one, of course, you can see, it doesn't include that. It's not one of the 1,884 copies because it was a promo copy I was sent. Bruckner was born in 1824, so I'm not exactly sure what the 1,884 signifies, but I'm going to find out eventually. All right, so in the box you get the actual program that was given out to people who came to the symphony. This was the Berlin Philharmonic program that you would get if you went to the symphony. There's Mr. Haitink. And it's, of course, it's in both German and English. There's the concert hall. And you also get a ticket. So that was, you have 4th row, 4th seat. So you're right in the front with this ticket, and also with what you hear in this recording, which is done direct to disc. You also get a section. You get a section of the score of Bruckner's 7th, annotated by Mr. Haitink. So in other words, this is the score, but you can see that he's made notes on here. So in his conducting, then you get a section of that excerpt, handwritten. That's kind of cool. Now, here's a photo that you get. So in doing this, Rainer Mallard, who is the director, chief engineer at the Emile Berliner Studios, he actually moved his cutting lathe into the Berlin Philharmonic concert hall, which is not easy to do. Believe me, it's a really heavy thing and it's very fragile and it's not meant for portability, but he did it on a couple of occasions and moved it into this control room upstairs, and you can see the orchestra down below. And then you get this book, and it's a really beautifully laid out book. And I'm going to just go through it quickly here for you. So first, there's a foreword on the physics and metaphysics of Bruckner's 7th Symphony. And there's Mr. Haitink some years ago, and he started conducting for the Berlin Philharmonic in 1964. Now, I've read through this, obviously. I've unboxed this and read through it. One of the interesting facts that I found in here was that Mr. Haitink, who's quite a distinguished conductor, he was too intimidated to ever meet Herbert von Karajan, who was, of course, the conductor of the orchestra of the Berlin Philharmonic for many, many, many years. But even though he conducted the Berlin Philharmonic, Mr. Haitink was too intimidated to meet von Karajan. I think that's pretty fascinating. So, over the years, he has conducted the orchestra many, many times, and this was all planned in advance that he would conduct this Bruckner Symphony on this date, which was May 11th, 2019, and it wasn't supposed to be his final performance for the Berlin Philharmonic, but it turned out to be because shortly afterwards he decided to retire, and not because of what he did here. This is quite an extraordinary performance, as you will be lucky to hear if you get a copy of this. And the direct-to-disc aspect was also planned in advance of his choosing to retire. So I see the date. Okay, the first performance of Bruckner 7th was on December 30th, 1884 in Leipzig. Another interesting thing that's I read in this book is that even though this is Bruckner's 7th symphony, he wasn't very successful before the 7th. He had many flops for one reason or another. His symphonies were not well accepted. The 7th was his breakthrough, and of course then people went back and better appreciated the older ones. So there was this other memorabilia in here, and Bruckner was 57 years old when he commits his first bars of the 7th Symphony to paper in September of 1881. And anyway, it's a very interesting story, which I hope you'll get to read. None of which I read before I got the book. There's a bust of Mr. Bruckner from 1950, actually. Now, then there's a piece here on To Sense the Meaning of the Music. And it goes through Haitink and his association with the orchestra. And as it says here, when Bernard Haitink stepped onto the podium on 11 May 2019 to conduct Bruckner's 7th Symphony, neither the members of the Berlin Philharmonic nor their listeners knew that this concert would be a definitive farewell. After the first performance of the program 2 days earlier, the audience had risen for a standing ovation, but that could almost be taken for granted with a maestro who had just celebrated his 90th birthday and had enjoyed a close artistic relationship with the orchestra since 1964. There's Mr. Haitink recently, and a couple more pictures of him conducting. And let's move on. Here's a picture from the concert. And there's the orchestra. If you've never been to this hall or never seen pictures of it, it's one of the first open halls. It's not a typical shoebox kind of proscenium hall. It's open in the back. So is the Concertgebouw where he used to conduct in the Netherlands. It's open in the back, and if there's a chorus, the chorus would be seated behind the orchestra, but when there's no chorus, they open it up to the public for seats. Here's a really beautiful picture of the orchestra. And now, recording Bruckner direct to disc. And there I am. That's how I got involved with this, and that's how why I have this early, and that is why I'm showing this to you. I was asked by the orchestra to write something about recording Bruckner direct to disc, and believe me, this was extremely an honor for me and intimidating at the same time to be writing about Bruckner's 7th Symphony in any regard, even though it's mostly about the recording aspect of it. But I did talk about the music to a certain degree, because I don't want to sound like a total Philistine, only a semi-Philistine. And I talk about direct-to-disc recording and how difficult it is to do it and how it intimidates the orchestra sometimes. At any rate, it really was... I was so nervous about this that when I got the box, I worried that I'd open it up and see that at the last minute they decided to edit me out. That's what I was worried about. But they didn't. I'm in here. And I'm very happy with what I wrote. I'm very proud of it. It took me a long time to do this. And Here's one of the microphones that was used. And there's Mr. Haitink signing the lacquer on side 4 just after they finished the performance. And here's in the control room. And here they're showing the lacquer to some of the other people involved in the orchestra, whose names I don't know. Again, there's this picture. And then I do some musical interpretation, which is not easy for me, but I did it, and I'm happy with what I wrote. They did a really good job editing what I wrote. And then there's the entire orchestra here. And the lacquer. Every member of the orchestra signed side 4, including Mr. Haitink. So it's 3 sides to cover the symphony, and side 4 is everyone signing it. And then there's this wonderful photo in the back. So that's the book. And then, of course, there are the records. These are pressed at optimal, processed and pressed at optimal. And it's a flawless pressing, I will say. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to review this on AnalogPlanet, and not here because I'm much better writing about it than talking about it. But it's a beautiful box set. It should be on sale now at the Berlin Philharmonic website. It's also possible that it's been delayed somewhat because of the coronavirus and shipping. I'm not quite sure of that, but I'll get to the bottom of that shortly. Anyway, it's a beautiful box. It costs $218, and I think it's well worth. It's every aspect of it has been beautifully produced. The engineering is spectacular. The sound on this recording, direct to disc, using it's a minimally mic'd recording. There are basically there's a center microphone with multiple capsules in it. There's a couple of outrigger microphones. Then there's a pair of microphones for the hall. So it's basically 5 microphones and they're vintage tube-based preamplifiers, feeding a vintage tube-based mixer directly into the lathe. So because there's no preview head, it means that as it was being cut, someone had to read the score and tell the cutting engineer when to change the pitch, unless it's fixed pitch. I haven't gotten the details yet. Let's see if we can, maybe we can see that. I haven't really examined the grooves that carefully, to tell you the truth. It's also possible that it's fixed pitch. Sometimes you can see it. I don't know. I don't think so. But maybe so. But it's a beautifully recorded thing. Transparent and 3-dimensional. I brought the test pressing of this. Of course, they sent me a test pressing months ago so I could write what I wrote. And I brought the test pressing to the Rocky Mountain show last September and played it in the PS audio room for a room full of people that just sat transfixed for the entire first movement. It's not the easiest symphony. It's beautiful. Once you grasp what's going on, it's absolutely gorgeous. The string tone, the way Bruckner arranges the strings, and the whole thing it's very majestic and heavenly. At any rate, people usually don't sit for an entire side of a symphony, but they did for this because the recording was so magnificent, and the performance was as well. So that's the box, and I will review it shortly. And there's 1,884 copies. So it's going to be a collector's item, I'm quite convinced. Just that we have this kind of thing happening in 2020 is astonishing. And I played this, when I first played this, I couldn't, Beethoven is like a rock star. Beethoven, you put on the 5th Symphony, da 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 da, and then you follow it and you're good. the first time you hear it, you're good. Maybe you don't understand every technique that he's employing in producing his symphony, but you certainly know the melody. You hear the theme, you hear the ninth, you hear the fifth, you hear the seventh, you hear the third. You know it. This Bruckner symphony was impenetrable for me. I didn't understand. It sounded like he was starting. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, and then he stops it. And I said, "What is he afraid of? What's he doing that for?" Then it would start up again. Oh, I'm getting that. And then he would stop it again. It was like coitus interruptus. Did I say that? I just did. But over time, as I kept playing it and playing it, it all started to make sense to me until now I've got this melody in my head from this first movement that I can't get rid of. It's so beautiful. Anyway, that's it. That's the Berlin Philharmonic, Bernard Haitink, Anton Bruckner, Symphony No. 7, direct-to-disc box set. Highly recommended. Thank you for watching.